foolish mortals.
Hello there. Are you insane? Get out of here!
Remain seated with your seatbelt fastened.
Right, off you go.
Welcome to Average Joe Orlando. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Average Joe Orlando, reporting for KMV Travel. I'm your host, Joe, and today we're going to talk about a guide to the Disneyland Hotels. Now, currently out in Anaheim, California, at the original property, Disneyland, there are 3 hotels on property that are owned, operated by Disney. However, each one has their own interesting history, and they also have their amenities and perks. So today we're going to discuss some of the backstory for the hotels. Maybe you'll learn something you never knew, and then also talk about some of the amenities and the perks as somebody who has stayed at 2 out of the 3 of them, and then have visited the third one, to hopefully give you a better idea of which one might be the best for you for your next trip. So let's dive in. This episode of Average Joe Orlando is sponsored by KMV Travel, a travel agency that helps families of all shapes and sizes plan personalized vacations and create unforgettable memories. No matter where you're traveling, to your favorite theme park, aboard a cruise, on an all-inclusive getaway, or beyond, the dedicated advisors at KMV Travel will provide personalized travel guidance and unmatched service at no additional cost to you. To learn more and start planning your vacation with expert guidance, visit kmvtravel.com/Joe. We have to start at the original, the Disneyland Hotel. Now I'm going to ramble off some facts for you. Now, it opened in 1955, but it was completely different than it is today. So the Disneyland Hotel that you see today or may know of today isn't what opened back then. None of the original buildings even stand today. It was the first official hotel actually to bear the Disney name, but it wasn't even owned by Disney. They didn't have the financial means, if you know the history of Disneyland. They didn't have enough money for a lot of things, so they didn't have the financial needs to build one. So another company partnered with Walt and built it on the property, calling it the Disneyland Hotel. It started much smaller. It's actually in the location of downtown Disney. If you know where the monorail is now, that was added in 1963 as the Disneyland Hotel station. So I know my first time out there, I was confused. Why is there a monorail in the middle of Disneyland? This is so random. Well, that was actually the station for the Disneyland Hotel. As the hotel expanded and kept growing, they added those towers, as you know, which currently stand there today. Between the towers, there was waterfalls, caves, waterways, restaurants, all in the middle, which is not there anymore. Finally, in 1988, though, the hotel was acquired by Disney and started being operated by Disney. And then it was downsized to what it is now in 1999. Now, when it was downsized, that was when they did the whole expansion, creating Disney's California Adventure, the Grand Californian, and part of that was the Grand California did open in 2001, which made up for losing so many of those hotel rooms in that area. So kind of where you know where the old movie theater used to be, that was where all those hotel rooms were, kind of where they knocked them down and then kind of just had the towers in the back. Some other things did open back there in 2012. Trader Sam's opened at the Disneyland Hotel. And then the towers were originally named Marina, Sierra, and Bonita. And then it was renamed to Magic, Dream, and Wonder Tower. Now, today, you'll know the Dream Tower is now the Adventure Tower. The Wonder is the Frontier Tower, and the Magic is the Fantasy Tower. And all of them were named after the different areas of the Disneyland Park. And then in 2023, the villas at the Disneyland Hotel were also added, which make it up what it is today, having the 4 towers for the Disneyland Hotel. Now, there's other history for the other hotels. The Pixar Place Hotel actually opened in 1986, but it opened as the Emerald of Anaheim, not owned or operated by Disney, just a hotel very close to the property. Finally, in 1995, Disney did purchase the hotel, and they renamed it at the time as Disneyland Pacific Hotel. And then it was once again rebranded in 2001 as Paradise Pier Hotel, as you could see this from Disney's California Adventure on the Paradise Pier, which was when they were doing that big expansion where they knocked down the old Disneyland Hotel buildings, created Disney's California Adventure, created Disney's Grand Californian. That's when they rebranded this as Paradise Pier. Now, once again, it was named for the fourth time now. This hotel went through Emerald of Anaheim, then Disney Pacific Hotel, then Paradise Pier Hotel, and now it is currently known as the Pixar Place Hotel and had a complete renovation in 2024, and that's where it stands today. Pixar Place Hotel went with that one also because Paradise Pier is no longer really there. It's in a much smaller form. It's basically took over as Pixar Pier, and you could see it from the Pixar Pier looking over, so it does work and tie in pretty well. Disney's Grand Californian Hotel and Spa was built in 2021, and that is, with that expansion of the resort, literally built inside the park at California Adventure, and then kind of supposed to be if you know the Wilderness Lodge or at Disney World, same architect, and if you think Grand Floridian Hotel, this is the Grand Californian Hotel and Spa, kind of mirror what is on the East Coast with the West Coast by having their Grand Hotel right there. They also opened a Disney Vacation Club wing in 2009, and it does have a private entrance that goes right into Disney's California Adventure. So if you're staying there, there's a lot of rooms that look over the park since you are literally in the park, and you can walk downstairs and you are right there in the park. Now let's discuss some of the amenities of each hotel, some of the pros, maybe some of the cons, but honestly, not many cons. You're staying at a Disney resort, so what could be better than that? But we'll start over with the Disneyland Hotel. Now, I have had the pleasure of staying here twice, one time in the Fantasy Tower and one time in the new DVC Tower. And something I really like about this hotel are the food options. There are so many great places to eat at this hotel. I always felt like I had great options. So you have Trader Sam's, of course, there. So you could end your night there sitting on the terrace or going inside. Everyone knows Trader Sam's. It's great that it's right there at your hotel. But they also have a quick service attached to Trader Sam's. I tried this twice. I did one time for dinner when I was coming back from the parks. I did the mobile order, walked up, and then one time for breakfast, my smoke alarm went off at like 6 o'clock in the morning, which was fine because not only am I an early bird, but being on East Coast time still, I was wide awake and ready to go to the parks at 6, even though they didn't open for a few hours. So I was able to mobile order, go downstairs, and get some of the food. And the food was some of the best theme park food I've ever had. And that was at that quick service right next to Trader Sam's. They also have the Broken Spell Lounge. Now, this was something newer. They have a a conference center that is located over there by Goofy's Kitchen. And inside there, they had a new lounge called the Broken Spell Lounge. And they had food and drinks, and they had a full jazz band at night. So a great place to sit and relax at the end of the night. That's something that we definitely took advantage of. I sat over there. They had club sandwiches and different kinds of drinks, which was fantastic. Also, the DVC pool bar sat at one night and got these Mickey dessert tarts. They have this cool, like, Mary Blair inspired mural on the wall. It is literally underneath the new DVC tower. The first floor is up on really pegs, I guess you could say, and the pool bar is under there, which connects the two pools. Very, very cool location, and a great place to stop for drinks and snacks. And then there's a full coffee bar downstairs too, right outside that convention center, which does mobile order, but they also have breakfast sandwiches in the morning. So definitely a place that I found as somebody who needs coffee first thing in the morning. You have that. They also have the newest rooms for DVC with that DVC tower. Grand California is going through a renovation. However, they do have those newest rooms. And this is kind of in that newer Disney style that you might be more familiar with, where it's a little more simple, touches of Disney, but really fantastic. Especially I had a studio room, so I had a little kitchen, so I had my refrigerator to put my waters in, had a little coffee area to make my coffee, and then go downstairs for coffee. As you can see, we need a lot of coffee in the morning, especially if you're going to be going to the park all day. But a really great resort, definitely one that I would stay at again just because of all the food options alone. And I would probably stay at the tower unless I was able to do club level at the resort side. The only con that I could really think of for this hotel would be it is the furthest walk from the park. Now you're probably thinking, well, isn't Pixar Pier kind of across the street? It is. However, they do have a side entrance, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. You do have to go through their downtown Disney. However, it is not that long and it's not that bad. There's two entrances on either side, so you could really pick in the morning because the lines do back up at security. So you might have a little bit of a walk. Granted, I did stay at the Grand Californian, so very spoiled being there one time where you just walk downstairs. But I would say I would actually pick this resort as the one I would stay at on my next trip when I go back, if it is available. Now, there is the Pixar Place Hotel, and the theming alone is fantastic. You could tell they really came up with some great ideas. So the pool is all themed. There's these little fire pits, which are all different themed, and you have Jack, it looks like his head, you have Anger's head, so fire, you have Nemo by the pool, you have Joe Gardner from Soul in the lobby, and at night he plays the piano and interacts with guests, and I know we got to see him, and I even forgot that he's a character, not just a piano performer, because just playing live music, and that was fantastic. You also have Bing Bong from inside out, and he meets in the lobby. It's the only place actually at any Disney that I'm even know of that you can meet him, and he is just hanging out in the lobby. So even if you're not a guest of this hotel, I would even suggest just coming over to this hotel, see Bing Bong during the day, see Joe Gardner at night. The lobby is really pretty, and just kind of explore. There are restaurants there. It is a third-party restaurant, so it's not owned or operated by Disney, but there is that there. There's also a great club level option. Got to experience that, go visit and see it with my friends because they were staying over there and they raved about it. And then the pool area, which is upstairs. There's also a lot of great rooms that look over the Disney's California Adventure. So if you opt to upgrade to a room that looks over a theme park view room, you could watch World of Color from your room. So lay in bed and watch World of Color, which is pretty great. Turn off the lights, go do that, or wake up in the morning, turn on the lights, and just enjoy looking at DCA, Disney's California Adventure, right from your window. They do have a gate, as I mentioned earlier, to Disney's California Adventure, so you do have to cross a street, so it is a major road, but they do have a crosswalk, and as long as you show your room key, there's limited hours, and you just follow the gate, and it lets you in the back of Disney's California Adventure, right by Goofy Sky School, so right around there. And then also, once it closes for entrance, it is always open later, as of now, at the time of recording, for exiting, which is great. So at least at the end of the night, you don't have to go out the front and cut all the way down. You just pop out of that gate. So you might not be able to always go in the gate for California Adventure due to hours. However, you could always leave it, which was at the end of the night, something that we really enjoyed. My friends went back to Pixar. I went back to the villas at the Disneyland Hotel and just cut right across the street. Saved us a lot of time. Now, the cons I would definitely say of this hotel are the big one, and if you ever read anything online or have stayed there, is the elevators. Now, this hotel, as I mentioned earlier, went through many iterations and wasn't even built by Disney to begin with. They tried by putting in more of those smart elevators where you click the floor and you wait. However, the elevators are very slow. I watched people wait a good 20 minutes or so just for an elevator. They even had cast members at time out there helping. So hopefully this is something that will be improved in the future, but it was kind of a lengthy wait. A lot of times waiting for the elevator, or you're waiting for your floor to go down, and it just kept being full and full. So that's a tough one. Also, the lack of food options. Really, if you're thinking of something more like the All-Star, where you kind of have that food court and you just go into it any time of the day, not as many food options here for you. Luckily, you are close to downtown Disney, so if you ever want to walk over there and get something. However, I would say there was a lack of food options, and this would be something that if you stay there, I would recommend maybe bumping up to club level, so you do have more of those food options, which luckily is only on the second floor, so you don't have to wait for the elevator. You can just walk right up and enjoy the club. Now, if you don't know about club level is something that you could add on, or you could book with your room or speak with your travel advisor about, but that is something where you have a club that is only for club level guests, and there is a personalized concierge in there that will help you not only with check-in, but with any bookings and reservations that you want. But it's also open at different times of the day for food. So they'll have breakfast in the mornings, light snacks, a light lunch, usually a light dinner, but it's usually a lot of food, and then also at night some desserts. And they also have alcohol and different drinks. So great way to pop in, grab some water, grab a quick snack, maybe just stop in there for a glass of wine at the end of the night. I definitely found the few times I have stayed at club level at different hotels, I didn't end up really eating in the park because I was always full from eating in there. Or I'd find myself just going back to the hotel a few times a day because I was like, oh, it's snack time. Let's go back. Let's get cleaned up. Let's relax. So if you're looking for a little bit more of a relaxing vacation and don't mind spending a little extra money, sometimes it's not that much more. You will get that option of all this food. So nice little benefit, a nice little perk, and something really great at the Pixar Place Hotel. They do have them at all 3 hotel levels, though. The final one that I'll discuss is the Grand Californian. Now, this one I did get to stay at one time, and that Disney California entrance was great. We walked right past it and went, oh, the park is right there. Location. And also, if you want to go to Disneyland Park, there is one that drops you right off at downtown Disney, and you are right there. You are so close to the park. So really, for the location, it's great. If you are looking to just be like, how can I pop in? Something I got to do was we wanted to go on Grizzly River Run, and I don't want to be in wet clothes all day. So literally went up to our room, put on bathing suits, came downstairs, went on Grizzly, and then came back to the hotel and just laid out by the pool, all within 30 minutes. So really can't beat that. They do have great atmosphere in there. There's always a piano player in the lobby with the fireplace. They do different events, depending on what's going on in the lobby, whatever time of the year it is. There is a fancy restaurant called Napa Rose. You have the Craftsman Bar and Grill. This is the pool bar, which was renovated in 2019. The food here was excellent. Sat outside by the pool, and you're thinking maybe sitting in plastic chairs out by a loud pool. No, they really did a nice upscale pool bar and restaurant out there, which was fantastic. Went there actually twice for food. And then there's also a spa. So only place at Disneyland if you want to go experience a spa. So a lot of great options over here. I'd say the only downside for me was it was a little bit of an older hotel. However, as I mentioned, it is going through a refurbishment. So that won't even be an issue either. Also, the price. You are going to be paying a lot more. This is the Grand Californian. So out of the 3 hotels, it is generally the more expensive of the 3. But something, as I mentioned, your travel advisor can help keep an eye on the prices for you because they will all vary depending on the time of the year and what's available. So as I mentioned, the cons would be the price and just going through the refurb now. Other than that, though, Grand Californian, if you could swing it or if you can get it at a great price, I highly recommend it as it is a beautiful hotel. However, there's only 3 hotels at Disneyland, and all of them are great and all of them have something different. So you can't go wrong, and I think you'll have a great stay no matter where you go. So if you're ready to have not the average vacation, be sure to reach out to our sponsor, KMV Travel, a travel agency that provides complimentary vacation planning assistance to families of all shapes and sizes to destinations including theme parks, most major cruise lines, all-inclusive destinations, and beyond. Start planning today at kmvtravel.com/Joe. Once again, that's kmvtravel.com/Joe. Link in the description box below. Well, thank you for listening to another episode of Average Joe Orlando. Hope you learned something new about the Disneyland hotels that makes your next trip even more magical. And with that, I will see you at the parks. Thanks for taking a ride with Average Joe Orlando.
You made it!
I knew you would. Is everyone okay? Hope you still want to open an account.
Say cheese! See you later!
Thanks, everybody. You were brilliant.
At this time, gather up your personal belongings and take your small grubs by their grubby little hands as you exit. Thank you.